All right, gang. Let's do a quick overview. The Hydra is being systematically dismantled. The FBI, CIA, DOJ, U.S. Senate, and House of Representatives are being cleaned out, and the propaganda arm of these bad actors, the mainstream media, is being exposed like never before, thanks to the president calling attention to it and social media providing the proof. It's hard to imagine any of this being investigated if Hillary had been coronated. Many of you may not be aware, but on 21 December 2017, the president declared a state of emergency when he signed the executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. Briefly, it states, I, Donald Trump, President of the United States of America, find that the prevalence and severity of human rights abuse and corruption that have their source in whole or in substantial part outside the United States, such as those committed or directed by persons listed in the annex to this order, have reached such scope and gravity that they threaten the stability of international political and economic systems. Human rights abuse and corruption undermine the values that form an essential foundation of a stable, secure, and functioning societies, have devastating impacts on individuals, weaken democratic institutions, degrade the rule of law, perpetuate violent conflicts, facilitate the activities of dangerous persons, and undermine economic markets. What's up, Gators? The United States seeks to impose tangible and significant consequences on those who commit serious human rights abuse or engage in corruption, as well as to protect the financial system of the United States from abuse by these same persons. I therefore determine that serious human rights abuse and corruption around the world constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to national security, foreign policy, and the economy of the United States. And I hereby declare a national emergency to deal with that threat. The following individuals have been fired and or removed from their positions in the FBI, CIA, and DOJ. Jim Rabicki, James Baker, Andrew McCabe, James Comey, Bill Priestap, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, David Laufman, Sally Yates, Sally Moyer, and Bruce Orr. Is this normal? Interesting question posed online. If Jeff Sessions, President Trump's Attorney General, and Christopher Wray, the FBI Director, are part of the D.C. deep state swamp, why are they cleaning out their respective houses? I also find it interesting that there is near zero coverage of Sessions' appointment of a prosecutor from outside D.C., John Huber, to work in tandem with the Justice Department's Inspector General to determine whether conservative allegations of abuse at the FBI and Justice Department merit investigation. Further, that Attorney General Sessions has been somewhat vague in his statement that Huber is working in cooperation with Inspector General Michael Horowitz. On to the government. 4 members of the Senate and 34 members of the House of Representatives have resigned or announced that they are not seeking re-election. Is this normal? On to the media. So whether it means sending stories to her campaign for editing and approval, passing along information that had been provided by corrupt DOJ or intelligence officials, or providing debate questions ahead of time, these reporters and networks have been named in the WikiLeaks to have colluded with the DNC or the Hillary campaign during the 2016 election cycle. It's also relevant, in my opinion, that 98% of the campaign contributions from journalists went to Hillary Clinton. Perhaps there's some conflict of interest, but I don't know. From ABC, Cecilia Vega, David Muir, Diane Sawyer, George Stephanopoulos, John Carl, Liz Kreutz. From AP, Julie Pace, Ken Thomas, Lisa Lehrer. Bloomberg, Jennifer Epstein, John Heilman, Jonathan Alter, Mark Halperin. BuzzFeed, Ben Smith, Ruby Kramer. CBS, Gayle King, John Dickerson, Nora O'Donnell, Sheev Chagris, Vicki Gordon. CNBC, John Harwood. CNN, Brian Collard, Dan Merica, David Shalon, Aaron Burnett, Gloria Borger, Jake Tapper, Jeff Zeleny, Jeff Zucker, John Berman, Kate Buldon, Maria Cardona, Mark Preston, Sam Feist. From the Daily Beast, Jackie Kucinich. From HuffPo, Amanda Turkle, Ariana Huffington, Sam Stein, Whitney Steiter. LA Times, Evan Handler, Mike Mamoli. MSNBC, Alex Seitz-Wald, Alex Wagner, Andrea Mitchell, Beth Fooey, Ed Schultz, Joe Scarborough, Mika Brzezinski. Phil Griffin, Rachel Maddow, Rachel Rakusin, Thomas Roberts. National Journal, Emily Skulthies. NBC, Chuck Todd, Mark Murray, Savannah Guthrie. New Yorker, David Remnick, Ryan Lizza. NPR, Mike Oreskes, Tamara Keith. NY Post, Geoff Earl. From the NYT, New York Times, Amy Shosik, Carolyn Ryan, Gail Collins, John Harwood, Jonathan Martin, Maggie Haberman, Pat Healy. From PBS, Charlie Rose. From People, Sandra Westfall. From Politico, Annie Carney, Gabe Debendetti, Glenn Thrush, Kenneth Vogel, Mike Allen. From Reuters, Amanda Becker, Tina Brown. From The Hill, Amy Parnes. Univision, Maria Elena Salinas. Vice, Alyssa Mastromonaco. Vox, John Allen, WAPO, Washington Post, Ann Gearin, Greg Sargent. And from the Wall Street Journal, Laura Meckler, Peter Nicholas, Colleen McCain Nelson. So is this type of collusion between the media and a presidential candidate normal? This media can legally propagandize the American people, consistent with Barack Obama's Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act, which not only authorizes fake news, it funds it with tax dollars. Perhaps this is all just coincidence. Perhaps I'm seeing something that isn't there. I would encourage you to look into it for yourself and decide if the news is giving you an accurate picture of what's happening. We'll see ya.